Hello and welcome to Higher Ground Gaming. This is Eric. Today we're going to continue our top 100 board games as of April 2023 on our channel. Today we're going to be counting down number 70 to 61. And despite what ID Gesture is telling you, these are the real, not the fake ones, the real top 100 games of all time. No, just kidding. These are my High Ground Gaming's top 100 games. But it's probably pretty close to the actuality. Just kidding. So anyway, so today we're going to continue our list. We're going to start off with number 70. And number 70 is a deluxe master set of a game with an Asian theme. And I did mention it if you were listening yesterday when I unboxed or watched the video for the Stefan Feld metal coins. This is my other game. I confirmed it. In fact, I can show you to her here. My other game that has metal coins in it. And these metal coins are actually better than the metal coins, I think, in the Stefan Feld collection. Now, I did look, and I thought they were only like 25 bucks for this for the coins. And as you can see by the cover art of the video, that they were actually 40 bucks. So, yeah. So they were a premium. These were included in Deluxe Master, so I don't know, they could have been around the same too, but these are super good quality. I'm just going to show you what they are before I tell you the game. See if you can guess it. It's got the hole in the middle, so you probably know it's an Asian themed game. And it comes in a denomination of 1s, 5s, and 10s. So I think the other one had 4 denomination, but these are like super heavy coins. These are nice, really nice coins. Not to say the Stefan Feld ones aren't nice, but these ones are just primo. But anyway, so my number 100, like I said, is a deluxe master set of a previously released game. It's by Thomas Van Ginste and Wolf Planky. It's by Board and Dice. And without further ado, let me show you what it is. It is not that. Right there. It is Yellow, and that is, so currently it's ranked 816 overall. 2012 it came out. But here is the set that I have right here. It's a deluxe master set, which I'm going to be showing you today. And this is a game where you're going to be completing quests. And I believe you're trying to please the Emperor, things like that. It's got some cool mechanisms in it. Very extremely nice artwork. But let me just show you here. Let's see if they have any full card. That's the game set up there. Let me see if I can show you a better one there. There it is there. So basically what it occurs is you have this city right here. These are all different quarters of the city. Well, they're not really quarters. Different sections of the city that you're going to go visit. I think there's 1, 2, 3, like 6 or 7 different, or I think 7 different areas of the city. There's going to be an auction phase in which you're going to be buying equipment like smoke bombs and throwing stars, Japanese oriented theme. You're going to be getting quests over here to the top here. You're going to be hiring assistants, some nice 3D silk screen pieces there, like samurais and whatnot, in addition to your regular workers. And then what you're going to be doing after that is you're going to be placing those workers, per se, or meeples, on the board, and their different sectors to perform different tasks. Complete quests, and you have quests that are easy, medium, and hard, and very hard. And yeah, and you're going to be getting the most victory points. Of course, it's a euro. As ID just said, why else would I have anything other than a euro? You don't need anything else other than a euro. No, I do have other games other than euros on. Well, actually, I think this list probably is mostly euros. So, spoiler alert, there are no, in this 60 to 51, there are no sports or war games. Well, there aren't any war games anyway, but there aren't any sports-related games, but there are some different types of games, too. It's got a good variety of different styles of game with some different mechanics other than being a Euro. Okay, so this is kind of another setup right here. Very nice player boards and everything. You're going to be getting rooms too, like dojos and things like that. Because some of the quests require you to have either certain equipment or certain rooms unlocked, geishas, in order to, I almost say geisha, geishas, in order to persuade, maybe some of the men or something like that. But anyway, or woman, I guess you could. Let me just see if I can get some better pictures here other than a faraway view. Yeah, here's a better view here. It's got the metal coins in here too. Shows it there. The different quests. Looks like a very busy board, and it is, but it's not that hard when you figure it out. Like I said, 7 different sectors you go visit. And the thing is about the different sectors, it's kind of like some sectors only have a certain amount of work replacement spots on there. So it is a worker placement type thing, but only some sectors only have a certain amount, so it's kind of turn order is important. And if you can't get into a sector, you can't complete quests sometimes. There's also a guard that's in the middle here that's going to follow you around, and if the guard catches you in a certain area, I think you get some kind of either fine or you can't complete the quest or lose victory points, something like that. If you have a thief, I think it's a thief or, someone that can sneak, they basically can avoid that. You can send them there and they won't get caught, type thing. Let's see here. These are just all the different quests that are sorted out, I think. I'm trying to show you, like, yeah, this is the big box. The box is super heavy, which I'll show you right here. It's right here, just to show that I have it. And I am in my other studio here at my friend's house, watching the dogs. Again, so I'm recording here, plus half my games were here anyway, so it worked out quite well. That's the front of the box there, what I just showed you. Yep, they're old compared to the new. I don't think I have those Buddhas there, but that may be. These are the, I think the different geisha colors you can hire. Some of them look like they're from another version, maybe the original version. They don't look like this version, but this version, there it is. That is some good. These are the geishas right there, and those are all the components of the rooms and stuff. I think that might be a dojo or something. And then those are the different 3D printed figurines, which are nice to have, really nice. Yeah, here we go. Those are the 5 different types of rooms here, I think. The geishas. I'm not sure what this thing is. Those are the coins. I think we made the coins and different pawns. Those are the metal coins, which I showed you already. But yeah, it's a really fun game. I've only played it maybe once or twice, and that was solo, the solo mode. It's got a good solo mode by David Turczi, which did ones for Teotihuacan and that Talatum. Talatum's wasn't so great. I think it was a little overly complicated, but it definitely simulates another player in it. So I really like the his solo mode in this. And overall, he does do solo modes well. Just that's like the one in Talatum is a little too much for really what you need. All right, so yeah, there's a nice photo of the. So basically, in these areas too, you get the cards or the smoke bombs or the the equipment or the quests. It's turn order is important because the first player will bid a certain amount on a certain area, and you have to outbid them in order to like say if you wanted equipment, if you wanted to get equipment here, in the auction round, you would have to outbid, you'd be the highest bidder in that area. And once I believe it works, once the starting player, person that puts up the thing for auction, once he gets something, then he then switches to the next person. So basically, if he put something up for auction but he got outbid, and he would have to put something else up for auction then in a different category. And once that category has been presented, only one person can go to that category at a certain time. It's kind of like that Princess of Florence game that I have, which I haven't described yet. But kind of works a little bit like that. Just because you don't get equipment in the auction, you can always send a worker to the market here to get a weapon or something like that too. So there are other ways to get equipment and stuff. You can go to a church and make a donation to, or get try to steal the money from the coffers, church coffers, if you're like an evil in that way, thiefy. But yeah, different areas are all different thematic areas. And there's a red light district, in which you're going to perform quests. But let me see if I can show you some of the quest cards. I should show you some of the quest cards. That's a player board again. They should show you. I guess they don't show you in the quest cards. It's kind of weird. Because the quests are really cool. They're really intricate. And there's certain levels of the quests. You can complete the basic level, but if you do extra stuff, you can get like extra victory points in the area. Let's just see, maybe, let me see if I can find it. If I go to the, let me see if I can get the main page here. I'll go back to the original game and see, maybe they'll have some pictures of the actual quests. Oh yeah, maybe it's over here. Those are all the different pieces. Yeah, and you get the trays and everything too, which is nice. Definitely a great production value. I definitely need to get this to the table more often. Oh, I didn't see all these. Okay. Yeah, but you get all these components in there. Oh, maybe I just missed it. Those are the quests. Let's see, maybe they're over here. That's not here. I think different events can happen too. There's an event deck. Here are some of the quests, different levels. Maybe I'll show the other side. Yeah, this is kind of a good thing right here. So basically, you have a certain, maybe a little flavor text, and you have to have a certain, maybe type of worker to go in there. And these are I think the items you need up top here in order to, you need 3 coins of a certain kind. And you need some other things. And then you get different levels. Yeah. So actually, no, these are different. No, this is what you need up here. You need a certain type of room and something else, I think a weapon. And then you get the top part right here. You have to meet the minimum requirements. And then if you have the extra stuff, you get a bonus too. If you have these 2 extra things on the left here, you'll get the bonus items there. So there's always an incentive to do quests of a different level. And some of the hard quests are super hard. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely a great production value. There's different, I think, end game scoring things on some of these tiles. So yeah, that is Yedo Deluxe Master Set. And that is by Board and Dice, which is a great company. So there'll definitely be some other Board and Dice games on this. Hint, hint. I'm not sure if there'll be some in this top 10. No, there won't be, but I don't think. Oh, there might be. Yeah, there's one other. It's a company that became Board and Dice. All right, so that is number 70, Yedo Deluxe Master Set. All right, let's go on to our next one, number 69. Dun, dun, dun. And that is Tramways. That is my railroad game. One of 2 railroad games on this. I think I already mentioned one. Just in case I haven't, I'm not going to mention the name of that, but I think I did. Yeah, I did. It's the Railroad Revolution, I think it was. But this is the other, and I think this is the only other, surprisingly, the only other railroad game on my list. And this is kind of a little bit of an obscure one. It's called Tramways by Albin Viard. And he's a designer, a French designer, who designed a game which is going to be higher up on my list here. It's a hospital game. That's all I'm going to mention on that one. But his games kind of like they're all in like one universe. Like I think it's My City is one of his games too. But all the games are kind of like in the My City universe, different aspects of it too. But this is a really cool railroad game where there's a bidding phase, an auction phase, which I've never seen in a board game. The artwork and production value, I think he produces everything, so it's not the greatest, but it's functional. And he did get, I think the other hospital game, he got a prolific artist, which I can't remember his name offhand, which has designed a few games that I have. But this game itself really could benefit from a reworking. I do have an additional map for this game, and some other expansions that I got off Kickstarter. Let's see if I can show you here. But there's different sections of the board right here, in which you're going to be building track like to different areas, such as residential areas, industrial areas, hospitals, different other things. Work and and leisure buildings and stuff like that too. And when you're traveling on the trains, you build up something which I hadn't seen in any other. I'm sure there are maybe one other I've seen it in, but there's a stress component to the game in which you get stressed out if you get too much work and not enough leisure, and you have to balance that out. The different colors of the buildings here, and these are different. These are modular tiles right here. They're like rectangular, and you choose, I think, depending upon the player count, you choose a different amount of tiles, and you put them out, and there's going to be parcels and lots and everything. And these cards that you're going to draft, they're multifunctional cards. Some good, some mostly good, but some bad. Which is an auction phase. And there's an auction phase, every player is going to get a chance to bid on a set of cards that come out. And I'll see if I can show you the auction system. It's right here on the right here is the auction system. And again, let's see, hopefully they do a zoomed in picture of it. Yeah. So this is kind of a little thing on the player board here. These are different commuters and stuff that you're going to have to either bring them home or bring them somewhere. This is the tracks you lay are going to be in different player colors right here. And you have some curve units and some straight units. Let's see here. This is the where you're going to put the cards that are up for auction right here. And then let's see if they show the actual auction. Up top here, these are the cards that they look like tickets, kind of like if you ever ridden a train. They're tickets on one side. You can use them to as a ticket to go on a train, or you can use them for their left value here. Like this is to go for an industry, or for residential. And you have to if they're going to a resident, you have to play at least one card that has a residential card on it. There's track lane cards here. This is for a single track, and you can get lay double tracks later on, which are worth more money. And if other people go on your tracks, they can gain money from your they'll pay you money for going on your tracks. And these are the 4 types of buildings: industrial, one of them's leisure, one of them's residential, and the other one I can't remember what it is. But they're different, and you'll get these too by going through these other decks that'll show up, and you'll be able to pick cards out of these other decks too, to add to your table. It kind of works. It's a deck building to some degree, like I said, but you want to do well in turn order in the bidding, because if you don't, you'll get like a negative result card, and you have to take the card, and it basically clogs up your deck, kind of like a Dominion or something else there. But there are bad things that can happen, like you can lose money or get more stress, that type of thing. But these are the different tokens, and the money here is the weirdest thing in this one. This little tray here is the money, and it looks like basically like pennies that were like without the artwork on them, just like flat pennies, or that got flattened by a train. They just don't. They're really minimalistic, and the other ones are silver like a nickel, but they're just not. They're about the same size as the pennies, and they're just not very good tokens there. Let's see if I can show you another one. This is your little player board right here, and this shows you your hand size right here. I think initially you start off with like a 5 or a 6 hand size, but if you unlock certain parts of your player board, you can get more hands in cards in your hand. And then these will add workers to your tableau, which you can do different things with. So it's and then this right here is your stress track right here. So you want it to stay real low, but higher it gets toward the end of the game, I believe you lose those victory points. the higher your stress goes, and bad things can happen. So you want to manage your stress in this one. Let's see if we can show you. I'm still trying to find a good one for the auction. Close up on that board. Let's see. That's Alvin Viard there, the designer. And that is kind of a game that's near completion. And you'll score points for the completed number of completed tracks, and for each meeple you deliver, you bring home or bring to work, that kind of a thing. You get different points based upon those things. But it's a fun little game. Here we go. Here's kind of a good example of the auction system. So the auction system, it's kind of weird. First person goes in player order. The first person is going to make a bid, and then the second player has to at least match that bid or go higher. If not, then they drop out of the bidding, and they're out for good, and they'll end up last, in player order. So it also not only does the auction determine who's going to get, the items, but it also the cards, but it also determines what order you're going to go in player order, which has a lot to do with laying track and everything like that. And also picking the cards. So if you end up being last in player order and there's a negative card out there, you're going to get that negative card. So you really don't want to end up last if there's a negative card out there. But yeah, it kind of works like each person is going to bid on their track right here, and then once they're unable to meet that bid for those cards, then they'll go into last player order. So you always have to at least meet, and then the next round you're going to have to at least meet the highest person's bid on their track. But it works in a very unique way. Probably not describing it, to totally fully. It just sounds like a regular bidding auction, but it's really a unique little system. These are the rounds. I think it's six rounds, I think, for the game. And then these right here will be tiles that are available during each round. Special tiles. Ones that give bonuses, that kind of thing. So this is residential, that's commuter tiles. And again, the artwork is not great on this, but the gameplay is really good. And that's why it's my number 69. And that is Tramways by Alvin Viard. Alright, so moving on to number 68. Let me make sure I'm... Alright, staying on track here. Number 68. Okay, number 68 is a game that I got off a Kickstarter. It came with a box sleeve, kind of similar if you watch my unboxing for Hamburg. It came with a designer sleeve on it. Again, I don't really like them, but it came with it. But this is of course, worker placement game. Of course, it's a Euro. And this game, does have some cool things. It's got a conveyor belt on it, and it's like it'll mimic a factory. And what kind of factory? Well, it'll be right in a 68 chocolate factory. Really fun little puzzly game, which is a big brain burner. Let me just show you Tramways. Go back here. Show you I did have Tramways. Just didn't show you what it looked like. Probably could have showed you the back here, and that would have been good enough to show you the auction part. But the Tramways. I don't have the other maps with me, but the maps of other cities you can get. And this is Chocolate Factory. And again, it's got the K for Kickstarter. Boop. And let me just take this off, because I think the actual box is much better looking than the sleeve. But this is Chocolate Factory, similar to the one in the picture there. Nice back of the box here, which shows you all the components. But this game has some really neat components in it, and it's got some really cool mechanisms. You really kind of do feel like you're making chocolate. In fact, the pieces are so nice, you almost want to eat the wooden pieces, but don't do that. So let me just show you here. Okay, so this right here is a game that's in progress, of course, and this is your little factory right here. Let's see. So you're basically gonna each round and it goes a full week. I think it starts at a certain date, like Sunday, and it goes through Saturday or something like that. And each day you're gonna be running your plant, your chocolate factory. So let's see if I can, yeah, it shows it a little better. So each round you're going to be drafting a worker, which will give you a special ability. and it also works for a certain department store. So you're going to be filling orders for department stores and corner shops, like local corner shops. These ones down below here are corner shops here. I think that's a level 1. There's level 1, 2, and 3 corner shops. The level 1 corner shops, you just have to complete like one row. These are kind of similar to like that Loyang, Gates of Loyang there. We had to fill market orders for regular customers. This is kind of like a regular customer here, I guess you could say. So in this one, basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be, and you can't really see the types of chocolate here, but there's different types of chocolate you're going to be trying to make. You can see it right here. There's a red piece right here, and there's yellow, which are the wrap candies, and then there's the horizontal looking ones, and then other ones that are more checkerboard thing. And I'll show you the components more. But you're going to be taking cocoa and feeding it into your conveyor here. And on the bottom, top and bottom parts here, when you hire that, when you do the draft for the worker that works for a different department store, it gives you a special ability. You're also going to be choosing that, or you're going to be choosing a piece of machinery to upgrade your factory. And where you put it is where you can use it. And you got to use coal, which you're going to get a certain amount of coal each day in increasing amounts. And you're going to be able to like turn chocolate into upgrade your chocolate by using the different abilities or equipment on your in your factory. And so basically what would happen here is that say he has a red piece here, he has a red and looks like a horizontal chocolate piece here, and he has a piece of cocoa that was turned into a chocolate cube right here. This isn't a finished product yet. These are finished products right here, which you can upgrade depending upon what you have for equipment in your factory. But what's going to end up happening is this piece of cocoa is going to slide into here. You have 3 tiles normally, unless you have a special ability. But 3 tiles you're going to be sliding onto here, and you're going to be using the abilities of your equipment to refine your chocolate. And then here, you're gonna there's a chute right here above the third one right here. If you don't block it with equipment, you can take out, you basically, instead of waiting it for the end to fall off, if you want to get that chocolate right away, it comes right off at that third spot right here. There is also equipment you can place on the 4th spot too, but you really don't want to block that spot. So basically you're going to be reducing chocolate to fulfill orders for corner shops, and you'll get a certain amount of money, or department stores. And I'll show you how that works. So let's see here. So this is the main board right here. It shows you the different upgrades of the chocolate, and the different hierarchy of the chocolate. These are different corner shops you can get, and then these are going to be the different department stores that come out. So these right here on the bottom here, you notice there's all player colors on here. So depending upon what worker you hire at the beginning of the round, you're going to be able to fulfill orders from a particular department store. And that kind of works, is interesting. It gives you down the bottom what it requires, like what types of chocolate it requires, and you can fulfill it more than once. And that's how you get further up on the different tracks here. I think it goes up to like 10 or something like that. The thing is, it's a majority thing. So I mean, not a majority thing, but at the end of the game, say like the first place guy fulfilled 8 orders on here over the course of the game. In order for the second place person to score, they would at least need to have half or more of the first place person. Like, so in this case, the second place person would have to at least have 4 in order to get points for this factory. And you get first, second, and third place, I think. Now the third person would have to have at least 2 orders completed on this too. They only had 1, then they wouldn't score at all. And then you also get bonuses based if you're able to fulfill all 5 different department stores, that kind of thing. So let me show you something else here. but it's a fun little game. It's definitely not a light. uh, it's mechanic wise, it's not too heavy, but it can be really brain burnery trying to figure out the right combinations and to produce the right things. This right here, these are the different workers you can hire. So one might be a like a department. I mean, the CEO you hire, and the CEO will generally allow you to complete double an order with a single piece of chocolate, like or a certain combination of chocolates. It allows you to complete that order twice instead of once with just enough chocolate for one order. It duplicates whatever you do. So that's kind of a nice one to have. There's other ones that allow you to complete a second department store on the same turn. And there's other ones that give you more coal, other ones that give you ability to upgrade stuff on a certain conveyor belt. Like it might allow you to double. It's a one-time ability, and for that round, and it may give you the ability to duplicate all the chocolates on a single conveyor belt, that kind of a thing. This is a factory right here. This is where you put your coal. It's kind of messy there, and it allows you to you can keep 2 pieces of chocolate on your original factory. I think you might be able to upgrade this so you can keep more chocolate from round to round, but generally speaking, you can only keep 2 pieces of finished product from round to round. What else? Coal right here. Again, is used for machines, to fire machines. There's different coal costs in order to do that. You can also take a piece of chocolate or a piece of unfinished chocolate and turn it into coal, like as a free action. The tiles are really nice. They're really solid. These right here, these are cards for the the corner store orders, but the machinery tiles and stuff are really nice, thick cardboard, really thick. They're nice quality. And as you can see here, the chocolate is really cool. These blue ones are the highest level. They're like boxes of chocolates. These red and blue ones, red and not blue, yellow are wrap candies. These are you can see they're like kind of checkerboard here with little squares. And then you have the ones that are smooth with just the horizontal lines in. Those are 2 different types of chocolate that you can produce. There's coal. There's the square chocolate, which is cocoa after it's been formed. It's still not finished yet. Let's see here. Yeah. So, but it's by Alley Cat Games, which makes a lot of good games. So there's another game coming up in the next 60 to 51 that's also going to be in here. They make nice family style, nice brain burnery type games with great production value. There's a solo mode in this. It's a good solo mode. I've enjoyed it, but again, it is when you get done, it's a lot. It's kind of misleading. It seems like a light, airy, fun little game, and it can be. And these during the production phase, when you're producing all your chocolates here, you do that at the same time as other players, simultaneously. So you're not waiting for other players. So there is a lot of the game, which makes it a little different than regular Euros, is that you can do a lot on your production phase. You do it a lot simultaneously. So basically, after you produce your chocolate each day, you're going to fulfill corner store orders. And then after you fill corner store orders, you're going to get new corner stores, and there's a majority for getting the most corner stores orders fulfilled. And again, like I said before, there's a kind of like a majority, kind of a unique system to fulfill the department stores. And you're going to want to try to get into all the department stores too, but don't neglect, because you can get some quick cash from fulfilling the corner store orders, and that's kind of what it's good for. Is it gives you a quick cash infusion if you're able to complete the corner store orders, which allow you to do different things. Go up, and money is the victory points in this game. So yeah, but the components top notch. Really, like I don't really say top notch. There you go. There's a good thing in it. The coins are just cardboard coins, no big deal. But the game comes with a set, a couple different sets of the corner stores here. So these are the basic ones, I think. But these are the more advanced ones, I think. This one is anyway. But you can mix and match and have more advanced. Like this one requires one yellow wrap candy to fulfill an order there. So if you had 3 wrap candies, you go up to level 3 on this. I think it goes up to 9, not 10. And that's as far as you can go on it. And then, the blue blocks candies are the hardest to produce, but again, they give you rewards for those. And then this one is just the regular. Well, I can't see which one. I think it's this type of chocolate it requires, but definitely great. And I think these are all wooden, I believe. I want to say they're wooden. I'm pretty sure they are. But anyway, yeah, and this is an example of production maybe towards the end of the game where you have your different, see this, you have a supervisor, which gives you a benefit from going to this blue store here. So it allows you to do department store orders in there. And then this one turns cocoa into 2 different types of chocolate. Yeah, I think it's either the horizontal one right here or the little squared one right here, a rectangle one there. And this one allows you to upgrade any chocolate once. This one turns the this type of chocolate right here into 2 either red or yellow chocolates. So it's definitely can combo a lot of stuff in here. And a part of the thing is figuring out the puzzle. But it's definitely a fun game that I enjoy. But I don't play it a ton because basically, at least back to back, because your brain will hurt after this game. But fun little game though. And that is my number 68 Chocolate Factory. All right, let's see where we're at here. Okay. All right, so moving on to the next one. My next one is number 67, of course. And that is a game that Artie Gesture has on his list. I think he might have it a little bit lower than me. At least I think I did see it. I think I saw it during the second day. It's a game where you're trying to build your own role-playing character. And that, of course, is Role Player. And this game comes with tons of dice, which I love dice, but you're basically going to be, let me just show you here, going to be doing dice drafting, building your own character to go on adventures, and again, the expansions, the Monsters and Minions, which is kind of a funny story. I had this game, and then I got rid of it. I got it like fairly early in my gaming time, probably about 10 years ago, a little less than 10 years ago. I got it brand new with the expansion. I think both of them I got for a really good price, brand new. And then I got it, and then I kind of like, I don't know. And I got rid of it, and I got something else. I can't remember what I traded it for. I think I might have traded it for Castles of Burgundy with all the expansions or something like that. Or it might have been something different, but I think that was it. But it came with a lot of, at the time, there weren't many Castle of Burgundy. The expansions were hard to get, so it was. I did the trade on BGG, but yeah, and then all of a sudden I got like, man, I really missed that game. I want to get that game again, so I ended up rebuying the base game. I haven't gotten the expansions yet. Monsters and Minions, it is good, but I don't know. It's just it's a little fiddly to me. I do want to try the adventures and the Fiends and Familiars or whatever it is too. But right now this is good enough for me. I love the market, the way the market works in this game. Getting different items and getting bonuses for different items. Building the characters, of course, really fun. Just the whole dice manipulation and bonuses you can get, or the trying to get set collections with the robes and the different armor and the whole puzzle too about your alignment and making sure that cube is in the right place at the end of the game. Playing cards, but those cards can change, can move it into the wrong area kind of thing. I do like that whole, and then trying to fulfill your background story and everything. Definitely a fun game with lots of different characters in it. In fact, getting the expansions too are to get the different characters. I think I had the frog character too at one point, which was kind of like an extra character you get. When this game first came out, it just looked so generic. Um, and I don't think it did that well on Kickstarter originally when it first came out. But when people started playing it and, saying, oh, this is really fun. Because you think role player, it's like, what is that? And the generic, the whole box is even really generic. But it is a fun little game, and a game that I definitely enjoy, building that character. But it does kind of leave you wanting for an expansion, though, to get an expansion. So you kind of almost have to get an expansion eventually, because this will kind of like wear out after a while building the character. Okay, I built it, now what do I do with it? So yeah, so that is my number 67, and that is role player. Role player. All right, so the next game on my list is going to be, of course, my number 66, and this is a game. It's a bag building game. It's by a designer who I have another of his games really high up on my list somewhere. Well, I won't tell you exactly where that is, but it's definitely higher up. And this is a game that came out after that game, and this is a bag building game by Rainer Stockhausen, and it's a game called Altiplano. It's a bag building game, which means you're going to be drawing tokens out of a bag to do different actions and everything. And it's a really fun little game with I always forget whether this is a llama or alpaca. I think it's an alpaca. Alpaca, that's what it is, Altiplano. But it's got like kind of like a little Spanish theme, and this is the alpaca in it, which is huge and it always falls apart. So it's by DLP Games, and just to show you where's the ranking here, it's ranked 354, 7.5. So it's pretty high up there. Where did the image go? Let's go back. Okay, so let's go here. So this is what you're going to be doing in the game. Is you're going to be placing these different areas like forests and mines and fishing areas and market areas and like a road here. It's very similar to this other game that's, like I said, much higher up on the list, but it's what you're going to be doing is you're going to be starting off with a certain amount of tokens, like say fish tokens or wood or stone tokens, and each round you're going to be putting them all in like a bag. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drawing those tokens out of a bag, and there's like a planning phase. And these right here that you put out, these modular boards right here, they can go in any order. You're going to have a worker, and he's going to be able to travel to different areas right here. But before you do that, like I said, you down to the bottom here, these are going to be, I think you initially start with like, you can only draw like 4 or 5 at a time, but there's different bonuses you can unlock where you can draw more tokens. But you're going to be taking your tokens that you draw, like say the fish and the stone, and you're going to be putting them in these upper circle areas right here. And once you complete a certain combination of tokens here, you'll get different goods. You'll get more tokens. You can also get bonus tiles, which allow you to get different abilities. Your worker itself, which is, I'm not sure where it is on here. It's usually a square, but yeah, I don't see it right here. But you're going to be, and the reason where these are placed, there's different areas of your player board right here, which correspond to the different areas in the market over here, and you're going to be stacking up different types of coins here. Different types of tokens, which you can go there to get different things. Your worker can travel, I think, like 1 or 2 spaces, or maybe 3. But you have to have food in order to feed your worker, and wagons and stuff in order to take extra turns. So initially, I think you start with 1 turn, but if you get a piece of food in a wagon, you can do extra turns in here. You also have a warehouse, which you're going to be taking one of these areas. I think it's a top area here, in which you can. After a while, your bag is going to get clogged with tokens you probably don't need as much anymore. Like you're going to get a ton of fish, and after a while, you might not need any more fish to get different items. So you're going to be wanting to warehouse them, and you basically warehouse stuff by rows. You get corn from and oh, this right here, this building on the road here allows you to increase your bag size here, which you're going to need wood and stone for. But you need to get wood and stone from the forest and the quarry kind of thing. And then you're gonna have to go here and spend those items in order to advance on the track. Again, this is a very similar mechanism to another game, which I'll probably go into a little more detail on, and you'll see the similarities between this game and the other game. But anyway, this allows you to increase your bag size, so you're able to draw more. I mean, not bag size, but draw size, so you're able to draw more tokens every round, and that's always a good thing. But again, you're going to be warehousing stuff, and the more areas you warehouse in here, the more points you'll get if you get for completed rows. You got end game like orders you're going to fulfill right here. These are orders you can get from the market to fulfill. These little canoes right here you can get in order to give you bonuses, different types of bonuses. I think that allows you to get extra goods or something like that. I can't remember exactly. This cocoa is a powerful resource in this game too, which is kind of like a wild token, I think. But yeah, it's a bag building game with, of course, victory points at the end of the game. But a fun little game though. And that is Altiplano, which is my number 66. All right, let's see if I show you a few more pictures. Yeah, these are actually your worker tiles. I mean, your tiles you'll draft at the beginning of the game. I think you can do a draft on them, but they'll give you a power for your starting worker, for your starting guy, which allows you to basically, like this one over here, allows you to turn food into fish. If you put a food token here, you still keep what you put on here, and it goes into your like a discard little cart, but you'll get a fish token here. So you never lose the tokens. You just it's kind of weird, but you just use a token to get something else. And it works really well. Like this one gives, like if you spend a food token, you'll get a piece of wood. It also, these are your starting, what's in your starting bag right here. A certain amount of money, and an alpaca, a piece of wood, and a food. So it gives you your different starting tokens. So with variable player startups there. So that is Altiplano by DLP Games. All right, next on my list is a game that is on BGA too. I play it more on BGA now than I do in person. It's just easier to play, and it does require a lot of setup, but that is my number 65. So let me show you the Altiplano. A little bit high here. 65 is this box, a little damaged when I got it. I was kind of disappointed for it on the way here, but when I purchased it. But this is a game called Signori, in which you're going to play as a Italian family. And basically, you're going to have the patriarch of the family, and then you're going to, through the different rounds, you're going to have sons which you're going to marry off to get wives, and then you're going to be building your influence in the cities, and it's a fun game. But I'll show you, it's got some. Again, I keep saying this. It's by What's Your Game, and it's not rated that high. It's only rated it's 7.4, which is still good, but 888. So it's in the top 1,000. And let me just show you here. See if we can show you the actual board game here. So this is your player board right here. And it's a dice drafting game. So depending upon the player count, you're going to be drafting. This is a good one right here. Yeah. This is probably this is the edition that I have. The other one I don't know what edition that was. Yeah, this is good right here. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be rolling. Say this. I think this is for a 4-player game here. Yeah, it looks like a 4-player game. So this one of the green, yellow dies is drafted. So you're going to be rolling the different colored die, 4 of them, and depending upon what die you pick, it's the yellow dies are you gotta cost you count as 1, then 2, 3, 4, and 5, as far as cost goes. So if you wanted to hire, let's say, get a green die right here and complete the function of that green die, you would have to, like say you picked the 3 right here. Since it requires a minimum of 5, because it's in the 5th position right here, you would have to pay, in order to draft this 3 die, you would have to pay 2 coin in order to perform that ability. So the abilities are different and generally better the higher numbers. Not always, though. And then once you draft the die, you put it on your player board in that area. So in this case, you can see the yellow one right here. And then what you can do is you can either perform the action above the yellow area right here. There's 4 different. These are tiles that get laid every round, so they change every round. Again, there's a lot of setup for this. And you can perform one of the actions by spending either male or female workers, which you're going to get a certain amount to begin the game with, and then there's ways you can roll and get additional workers later, male or female workers. And the female and the males do different things on this board, which I'll go into a little bit later. But so one of the things you can do is you can either pick one of these areas right here to do or you can do what's called the signatory action on the board. And for the yellow, it's to get 3 coins. So you either perform one or the other here. Now here's where one of the cool things about this game is if you go to say this red area right here and draft a die right here, you can go and perform, like I said, the area that's above here, one of these things right here, to allow you to go up on certain tracks in this case, or get a different die total, which I'll go into later. Or you can perform the area here, which is to send a female into the city to perform some kind of task or whatever. That's what that means right there. And if you have any of these, what you can also do, instead of doing those 2 actions, you can spend a certain amount of money to go to the left here into this yellow area right here and put one of these a white token on those areas right here, which unlocks special powers. So now what it does is it makes the yellow area more powerful. So when this person takes the yellow die, they can perform, like I said, either the top or the signatory action right here to get coins, 3 coins, and then they can perform any actions up to 3 here that have that they paid for previously. So it unlocks different actions on your thing, and it's a really kind of a cool mechanism. This one right here will allow you to place tiles on your player board here to give you different scoring things. This one right here allows you to go up on tracks. So these are your male workers. Your male workers are going to go up on influence tracks, and there's 3 different areas there. There's a king's area, there's a religious area, there's I think like a games sporting area there. And you jump up on those tracks based upon your player board. I know it sounds kind of weird, but let me show you the whole board itself. Let's see here. I just want to see if I can. That's an influence track right there. Oh wait, which I'll show you in a second. Let's see here. So the game occurs over the course of 7 rounds. At the end of each, so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drafting up to 4 die in your round. And everybody has the ability to do every action, but the numbers and the amount of gold you have, you may not work out right, so you may not be able to perform a certain action. Like say you wanted to do, let's see here if I can figure out one here. If you wanted to perform this purple action here, you would have to pay, since it's only a 1 right here, you would have to have at least 2 coin to perform that action. These 6s right here, as long as it's at or above 3, you just take the die onto your playboard. So why wouldn't you want to take a higher as opposed to a lower die? Well, after you draft 4 die, if the total is 13 or below on those 4 die, then you get to take the bonus of that round. Like this one right here, the third one right here, is you get 2 extra male workers at the end of the round. Or this one allows you to take a female and put her in a city. This allows you to go up the book track 3 spaces. If you don't care about the bonus here, or it's something you're not interested in, then you don't have to worry about going up on those tracks, and you can just take whatever die you want. But if you want to get the bonus in here, you need to do that. Also, as you can see here, these are brides right here, and each round, one of your sons is you have up to 5. I guess all the families end up having 5 sons by the end of the game. If you want that son to marry, then you have to have him take a bride. And then the reason those are important is that there's an action you can take where you can roll a certain amount of die. Well, you can roll a certain amount of times in order for each husband. Each husband that has a wife, they're able to produce 1 baby, and you get extra male and extra female workers, and thus you're building your family line, and that kind of a thing. So it does work thematically that good. So, but these, you can only take if your die total is 13 or less. Now, there is a certain action right here, this die action up here, which if you decide you want to take that action, you pay a male worker as payment, and then you get to add, say, 3 to your dice total. So now it goes up to 16. If you spend 2 male workers, then, and it could be male or female, depending upon what position this is at, in order to increase your female, your total to, say, 19 instead. And usually you don't have to worry. 19 is usually the most workers I put on this is 2. So, but it does require you, instead of taking the purple action, which is to go up on I think a track or something like that, it requires you to spend that action on increasing your die total. So if there's another action you want to really do, or all the die totals are like 5 and 6, you might have no choice. You can also forego taking that 4th dice or 3rd dice, well, 4th dice, because you can always do at least, well, not necessarily. Yeah, you can always do at least 2 die, because 6 and 6 is 12. But if you forego that 3rd or 4th die, usually it's the 4th die. But if you want to forego that and only take 3 actions, you're taking 1 less action. But if there's a bonus you really want, like towards the end of the game, there's some good bonuses about how many male workers you have in different cities, or how many male workers you have in a certain area, in a certain city, that kind of a thing. Just to show you the tracks right here. Let's see if I can show you the how the tracks score. So the cities, let's see if I can. Yeah, these cities right here can only, depending upon the player count, can only fit a certain amount of male or female workers in the cities here. The way the females work is the males and the females both visit the city, but they have different jobs when they go to the city. The female worker, all you got to do is take a female worker from your supply, pay the amount of coin, which is the lowest amount here, it would be 1, and you can place a female worker in here, and then you would put the female worker to the right of your player board, which, yeah, I'm not sure, I can't make sure that. But anyway, you're going to be placing a female worker in here. You take the tile that's in that city, like in this case, these are all, they change from round to round. Well, not round to round, but they refill from round to round. If they're there, they might stay there if nobody takes them. But in this case, then you would take the purple crest right here, and you would put that next to your female worker on your female on your player board, worker area. And the females can only have 1 of each colored shield. Some kind of diversity thing, I guess, or something like that. And these give different victory points, anywhere from 2 to 5 victory points into the game. Now you have to have, I think it's at least 3 crests next to the female on your player board in order to score it. And then the way the mail worker works is that you have to go up on the influence track, which is these tracks right here in 3 different areas, either the royalty area, the king area, the religion area, or the sporting event area. And depending upon how high up they go on the track, they're going to have to go a certain height, and if it requires them to, and there's bonuses you can get on the track too, like money and other things. But in order for you to place a mail worker, say in the 2 slot right here, you would have to have gone up on the track at least to the 2 influence area. So it works as influence for the mail workers in here. And again, you get bonuses on this right here. This gives you 4 victory points, I think, for every mail worker in each of the cities here, for each city that the mail worker is in. Same thing for the female thing. There are ones that you score 2 points for every female worker of your color in a certain area, that kind of a thing. The females also require you to pay. I think you're getting them married too, because you pay like the amount of coins the female has to put in here is not prestige. It's like it's coins for a dowry type thing. So if this were all filled up right here, in order to put a female worker of your color in here, you would have to put you have to pay a 3 as a dowry kind of thing. So there's different things for the male and female workers in here, but they give you end game scoring conditions in here. At the end of the game, the last 2 areas right here, you can pay 5 coins at the end of each round to get 5 victory points. That's what this is right here. So the first 5 rounds, you're going to be getting wives for your sons, and then in the last 2 rounds, you're going to be paying money to get victory points. And then these kind of work interestingly. In some versions of the game, you can play it as with conditions of the game. You can play it as a once these 8 spots are filled, it's like a closed gate or closed door type thing. Then no more workers can go in there. Also, too, another thing to consider too is the different crests right here. When you go into either the king, the religious, or the games area, which I'll show you on the playboard in a second, they require a certain set of crests to go in there. So if you take a crest, like a male worker in here, and you don't need this crest right here, you forfeit it. You just don't get a crest. You can still score the victory points for here, but you won't score any end game points or be able to take a tile for that. So let me see if I can show you your player board here a little closer up, which kind of will make me make a little more sense. That's just a little thing in here. But, and again, these bonuses, it's good to get a bunch of these bonuses initially. Like initially on, you won't be going much up tracks or anything like that, but you'll be laying a lot of, like the players that score well in this game generally have put extra, a lot of these extra tokens, or paid for a lot of these extra tokens to allow you to go up on certain tracks, or to roll a die for a certain amount of extra workers, that kind of a thing. So this purple area is an area where you can get extra, depending upon how many brides you have for your husbands. For your sons, you'll be able to get more workers. Initially, early on, it's not very powerful. It's only like a power of 1, but then you'll be able to get 2, 3, 4, up to 5 workers towards the end of the game. Let's see here if I can show. Yeah, you can't see it very well, but on the right side over here, notice there's people laying tiles to the right of the playboard right here. So this is like the royalty area. This person's got 3 tiles there, so he'll score at the end of the game. If he doesn't get at least another worker in this area here, this in the tile here, he won't score the victory points for the crest he's taken here. And on the bottom is where you put your female dowry or whatever tiles, and these all have to be of a different color. And I think each player has a different set of crests they have to collect. But anyway, that's Signory, and it's a fun game, and if you want to try it on BGA, it's a great game. Lots of meeples in here. It can be frustrating too if you don't have enough workers to go in different areas, or you spent them too much to do these abilities up top, and then you don't have enough to go up on tracks and stuff. And every game is different because these tiles change from round to round. So there is a lot of setup in the game, but it's a fun game. I definitely enjoy it. And that's Signory, my number 65, was it? 65. Hey, I remembered. All right. And my next one is a family style game. Yes, it's another Euro. But it's a game I got early on from Kickstarter. I pledged on Kickstarter. I thought it looked interesting. It's a little bit heavier than it first looks like, but it's got some really cool mechanisms. And that is my number 64. Recurators from 2019. Rank overall 2081. Family 534. 1 to 5 players. There's a good solo mode in this game. But again, I'm all about mechanisms, and this game has great production value. First of all, it's by KTBG, which I don't think I've ever gotten out of the company. Another game by them. Tim W.K. Brown and Joshua Capel, so not designers I've really even heard of or heard of since. They might have done other things since then. But this is a surprisingly fun little game, and I consider it a hidden gem. But my buddy Dave's played it, and he likes it a lot too. But if you're into fish or aquariums or deep sea diving, it's a fun game there. So let me show you here what it is. So basically, you got these shipwrecks right here, and you're going to be there's tiles you're going to be putting here, treasure here on each of these areas right here, and you're going to be sending divers. I think you start with 5 divers, and whenever you place a diver, you're going to be rolling die initially. But that's kind of a cool thing too. And depending upon what die you pick, you could get bonuses of shells and stuff like that. But you're going to be putting, say you rolled a 1 and you wanted to go here, and you wanted to get a yellow treasure token here. Now, the reason you want to get these different colors and stuff is for 2 reasons. On your player board, which I'll show you in a second, you're going to be either putting these tokens that you get. They're 2-sided, I believe they are. You're either going to be taking them for their color and trying to complete different cards, like set collections. They kind of work as like quests, but they may have a certain pattern to them. Like they may have 2 yellow, a brown, and a blue treasure on them. And you're going to want to collect them and turn them in to get the reward. And that's kind of an end game condition. Once you complete a certain amount of those, that ends the game. Also, too, there's another thing you can do is you can turn them over and you'll get a certain treasure out of them. A specific treasure, like say a chalice or I don't know, a cup or something like that, or a sword or something like that out of the wreck. And the cool thing about it is, if you say there was a worker on this 1 spot right here, and then the next player went and placed his worker on the 2 spot, since he placed he'd get a treasure, but since he placed his treasure, his worker on a spot next to somebody else, that person here would get a treasure. If you had, say, workers on the 1 and the 3 right here, and this is where it's really cool, kind of cool, and you placed another worker on the 2 spot, you yourself would get 3 treasures right here. You can knock people off their spot here. So there is an incentive to try to get, try to build up around these wrecks and try to get multiple divers on a certain area. If you kick somebody off the area, they get sent to the beach, basically. And then I believe when they get sent here, they'll get the starfish and shell tokens and whatnot. And they can be used to purchase fish tanks later on, which is another way you can score points. So basically, what you get knocked off here, your worker, it still doesn't come back to you. It goes to the beach. But then, say if somebody else got knocked off at the 2 position, and your worker was here at the 2 position, you can even kick I don't think you can kick yourself off, but if somebody else kicked you off, you might be able to. I'm not sure. But if there's a worker already here, that worker that's on the beach gets sent back to the player, and then he can use that worker. But the thing is that once the workers are on the beach, like if you had like 4 workers on the beach, you might only have 1 worker available. And you can always take a worker and take it from one wreck, like say he's on the one here, and take it and take a die and put him on another wreck. You can't put him on a different number on the same wreck, but you can move him from wreck to wreck if you start to run out of workers, which you don't really want to do. So there's a point where you can get stuck on the beach too, and that isn't good. Let's see here. These are the aquariums you can build. So if you get a certain amount, so you always have to start with the bottom of these, and there'll be a phase during the round where you, like say if you had two of these type of shells and a starfish, you could turn them in and get this bottom tank here. At the end of the game, I think you got to pay 4 coins too. No, these are victory points. At the end of the game, it's worth 4 victory points. And then you can put as many middles as you want. Like you can buy the middle sections right here, which there'll be, I think there's like 3 or 4 available at any one time to choose from. And if you have the right, if you have a star and you have a skull, I think it looks like right here, token, you can buy the middle right here. And again, you're going to want to build these as high as you can, and they will still score even if they're not completed. But if you notice these top ones right here, they have a set collection thing. So if your fish tank right here has a skull, a yellow, and a starfish, for each combination of those, you would score 6 points. Like for instance here, he only has 1 set of each because he only has 1 skull, but he would score 6 points in addition to the 3 and the 4 he scored here. So that's how the top score. So you kind of want to complete these. This one right here, again, only score an extra 2 for the top. So you're going to want to, if this guy was right here, you'd probably want to try to collect more skulls than this one. And this one would probably want to try to get at least 1 more skull to score this twice. But it's really a fun little game there as far as that goes. Just to show you other things in the game. These are just more different other. It's the same thing. So this right here is just a game in progress right here, and I did get the deluxeified version of this, so it does come with the little divers. They look like little divers instead of meeples, which are probably going to be in another picture here, and I had to put stickers on them, and they are really pretty cool. I don't remember the skulls, though. They might have changed that in the final production copy. So this right here is where you're going to roll the die. So the first player, and the victory points are inside the box. Kind of neat. I kind of like that. But it's a little bit of a dexterity game, because if you roll the die, and the different pips in they're fish die, I believe it is. So a certain amount of fishes are like the pips on the die. If you roll a die, you're going to try to want to get them into the different shell areas right here, because if they're touching a corner or at least partially in these areas, then on a certain board and when you take the die, you'll also get the shell. So this is another way to get extra shells. So it's a little bit of a dexterity game as far as that goes. It's just kind of fun. So this is your player board, and like I mentioned before, you're gonna get these quest cards, which I'll probably show you in a little bit. But you get 3 areas which you're building up here to try to complete these quests, and if you get the exact, it's first come first serve for completing the quest too. So if you completed a contract which had 2 yellow, a blue, and a yellow in perfect order there, you would score a certain amount of points, and you would get a bonus because you did it in the correct order. If you had 3 yellow, it's kind of a little bit like Mastermind. If you had 3 yellow and a blue, but they weren't in the right order, like say the blue was first or something like that on the card, then you would score just the regular card. You want to get the extra bonus, like usually like an extra shell or something like that. There's different free actions you can take, which is described below here. Certain types of shells allow you to change a treasure or up here into a certain color, or if you put a shell on top of one of these tiles, it changes it to a different color in case you're trying to get a different color in there, or in case you make a mistake when you're doing this, or that card gets taken. The stars allow you to, I think, complete the order for 1 less color or something like that. And then right here is the museum area, which you're going to want to be building like by layers. So the bottom layer, unless there's a tile on the bottom, you can't put one on top. And you're going to want to be doing all tiles are the same color, and there's a so you'll score points like 3, 4, 5, and 6 depending upon if you fill these rows. Like, and for each unique treasure you put here, you get an extra point for that. I think that's what this little thing shows there. So production value of this game, like I said, is really good. Yeah, I think they changed the skull to something else because I don't remember the skull being in the game. I'm pretty sure they did. Let me look at the box here quick. Yeah, it's like I don't know if you can see it there. It's like a different type of shell right here. They didn't use the skulls. They probably get bad feedback because it was a family game and just had to change the shells. Yeah, that's like a player board that's blank there. I wish it would show some of the upgraded components. That would be kind of cool. Let me see if I can find them in here. So these are just different fish tanks you build. So the whole diving and the fish concept is nice. Yeah, these are the little guys. They look like, I don't know, it looks like the Bill Murray movie where he's the Adventures of Captain whatever it is, or Steve Nisu, or whatever the name of that movie was, where he's a diver, captain of a diver. They're pretty cool. And these are the cool fish dye, which I got with it too. The different types of fish on them. But yep. So that is Wreck Raiders, and game I got off Kickstarter, and that is my number 64. So only 3 more to go. Yay! It's a very thematic game. A game I got off Kickstarter, and I get this fairly early on in my board gaming. I call it my career. Maybe one day it will be my board gaming hobby, and that is. Actually, that's not the game I thought it was, but that's okay. That's the next game. But this game is kind of similar. I did get this on Kickstarter, and I did get this fairly early on in my board gaming career, around the same time I think as the following game. This game is not quite as thematic, but it's basically you're settlers and you're settling an area, and of course you're using die. Now, what I love about this game, and again, this is by David Turtsey, who and this is the game by NKSN Games, which is now called Board and Dice. So these guys became Board and Dice. This is before they came Board. And what I love about this game, I don't know how much you can see it, but there are tons of multi-use colored dice in this game, and the next game also has that too. But this game is, yeah, I don't think it gets enough love. It's a little samey, I guess you could say, a little generic-y. And I do have a couple complaints about the game, but it's got an excellent, I love the solo mode in this game. It's a little hard to manage at first, and the iconography you got to figure out. But once you figure it out, it's not bad at all. But it's only ranked 1549, strategy 832. But basically, settle your people, advance technology, and fight for new territories in a new world. So it does kind of give you that feel, I guess. But let me just show you the game here, and it does have an expansion, which is really hard to find, where it adds water to it. But let me just show you here. It came out in different countries. So this is your player board. Kind of a little bit too much text on it for me, but it describes all the dice manipulation and all the turn action stuff you can do. What I like here is it comes with 6 different colors of dice. You initially start with a bunch of white die, which are kind of generic-y, but eventually you can get more specific types of die, which allows you to do different actions. And it gives you basically the pip sides, or the sides of the die, and what each one covers. So that's kind of neat. But this is like a die area where you're going to have a certain amount of die you're going to get, depending upon your bag size. And you're going to be drafting it out of a bag, which I like too. And then you have a spent dice area. So on your turn, you're going to be taking 2 actions. Let's see if I can show you here. So this is the solo mode right here. It's a little complicated the way it works, but it works. So I think that's these might not be the solo mode. Yeah, this bottom part is the solo mode. Yeah, this bottom here is a solo mode area, I think. The top part is regular, just the regular game. This arrow is for the solo game, I think, and these cards, I believe, are for the solo game. This is the first player card, which is kind of chintzy, but. So basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drafting tiles and putting tiles down, and you're going to be putting tents on your tiles, settling the area basically. You're going to be putting tents on it, and at the end of the game, whoever has the most tents, or whoever has a house first. You can only build one house on a tile. You need a certain amount of tents. You can take an action to convert that into a house. But the first player with the most tents or the house on the area will get 6 points. And at the end of the game, the second place person will get 3 points. Some of them aren't so lucrative, like this one right here is only 1 and 0 points. So it's not really an incentive to follow that person over to get second place on there. But they do have certain abilities. Like I think this one allows you to, I don't know exactly what it's saying here, but I can't remember the outcome. I think there's some kind of a trade action allows you to do treat certain thing as a trade action. I think that's what it is. But what's cool about this game is that when you put a tile down, the next person that you have to build, like if you have a tent on this area right here, you can build. Like if you took an explore action, you would pick, I think, depending upon how the strength of your explore action, you can draw 1 or 2 tiles, and then if you pick 2 tiles, you pick one of them. If it's 1, you just get what we picked. And you put it, it's got color blindness icons here, which is nice. I think this one gives you a free pumpkin, as long as you hold them. And I think these abilities right here are only if you hold the majority on the thing at any one time, which majorities can change on these. So basically, say you put a tent on this area right here, and the next person came and put this tile down right here. Anyone that has a tent on a tile that's adjacent to the tile that was just put down, well, first initially, the person who put the tile down can put a tent if they have one in their supply. And you have a supply of tents, and then you have a supply, an additional set of tents which you don't have access to yet, which you have to use an action to get more tents. But basically, say if you had tents, you would put a tent on here. The person who put the tile would put a tent on here, and then if they wanted to, most of the time you do. And then the other person, as long as they had any other player that had a like say these 3 areas, say there was another person had a tent on here, they could follow that person onto here, so they could place a tent on. But because that person laid the tile, the first person who drew the tile who put a tent on it would have the ability to put a second tent on it. So you can follow people. That allows you to follow other people onto different tiles, but the person who laid the tile still has an opportunity to get the majority on that. This bottom tile right here is for the solo game. And that's kind of a unique thing. I like the way the solo mode works on here. So basically, you're going to be expanding out here and building these can be different shapes. These are the player bags. You also get different abilities you can unlock through doing research, which give you different bonuses, which you can use once per round. And they give you victory points and things at the end, different other things, different other bonuses. I think stars are victory points. So there's different technologies, and there's a pretty big deck of technologies, and you can use in your first game they advise you to pick a certain amount, but certain technology. These are what really is cool about the game. The different sided die. They give you resources. They give you settling is the fire thing here. The handshake is the trade thing. There's one on here that gives you an ability to add extra die, and I think the die for each die you have, at the end of the game you get I think for every 3 you get a victory point or something like that. Yeah, so your bag building, you're gonna want to you can get rid of the garbage die, like the white die or the most generic die. You'll want to get rid of them. These guns right here allow you to go onto a different tile and take somebody else's tent off, that kind of thing. So basically, you can do raiding in this. And again, the iconography really good, and the little color blindness things I really appreciate there too. And the end of the game gets triggered. One of the end game conditions is either if there's like a pool of victory points you can get in a little pile, and if that pool ever depletes, that's one of the things. But also too, if any one of these I think it's either 2 or 3 of the colored die, if they're no longer available, the pool of die, then that kind of triggers the end of the game. But you can manipulate these die by using these Pioneer sides, and there's other ways to do it too. You can spend resources, I think, too, to manipulate dies. But you can also use these pioneer tokens, and you want to get pairs or triplets of dies. And again, generally the strength of the action is stronger the more of that same symbol you have. And you're taking 2 turns every round, basically, is what it is. These are little houses. These are the generic houses, which I got. And this game, like I said, I got this pretty early on. It is one of the first Kickstarters I ever did. And this game, the extra items and stuff, it was not a great Kickstarter. They botched a lot of the tents they gave you. I mean, the houses and tents. The extra resources were really well done, but the tents and for some reason they made them way too big, and they wouldn't fit on the tiles because the tiles are fairly small, and it just, a lot of people complain, and it was kind of a mess. They did make things right, but it took like, I think, up to 6 months to a year to, and I think it was like in Poland or something like that. They had to ship them from, which to their credit, they paid for all the shipping and everything like that. It took a while, but they did make right on it, so I can't fault them for that. Yeah, I think these were the ones you got later on, but the initial ones, the molds weren't that great, but these are a little bit better, I think. Maybe these were them. Yeah, these were the initial ones you got, and these ones were, like I said, way too big, they didn't look good at all. The cool thing about it is that you get different shapes and colors, for each player, so that was kind of neat. These are the victory point things you get, and you get a certain pool of them, and when these deplete, then I think that's the end of the game where you play one more round. These are the upgraded resources. Really nice, really high quality. I think they were made by Stonemaier or something like that, but they're really nice quality tokens here. Yeah, the wood. I like the wood and the iron. Tons of dice. Like I said, these are all the white die, and then you get tons of these other colored die, which depending upon, if you want to do more raiding, you might get a brown die. If you want to do more settling, they might have more settlement tokens on a certain colored die too. But really neat. I think a little bit underappreciated game, but very fun dice manipulation. These are good amount of tiles in the game, and they get, like I said, they did come out with a expansion for this, which adds water and stuff like that, water and different other things you can do, with a lot of other mini expansions. I think Meeple University did a playthrough on that, on the expansion for this, and maybe one other channel. But it's definitely an expansion I'd like to get someday, but right now it's kind of expensive, and it probably won't be going down anytime soon. But really nice, high quality dice and everything. Again, the tiles don't have very limited artwork on them, and they're really kind of small. If they were a little bit bigger and maybe had a little bit more artwork on them, it'd be better. But it's still a fun little game, which I bring out every once in a while. And that is my number 63 Dice Settlers. So 2 more to go. All right, and this game is very similar to Dice Settlers. That's why I often get it mixed up, even though it has a very different theme. But it's got cool dice in it, and it is a Euro, just like this one, of course. And that is Robin Hood and the Merry Men. And this is a semi-cooperative game. Designers are Ivana Kretevsky and, I don't know if they're husband and wife or brother and sister or whatever, but I think I can't remember where this is done, but it's by Final Frontier Games. This is ranked a little bit lower, I guess, than the other one, probably because it doesn't have David Turczi in it, and the designers really aren't that well known. But it's very thematic. You're playing as a famous outlaw to protect Nottingham from the tyranny of Prince John. And but yeah, definitely a fun game, and it has a great solo mode in it. It has a hard solo mode. I've only played a couple, like one level of the solo mode in, but it has a lot of different things you can do. So, artwork is tremendous in this game. I got the screen printed. Show you. Well, I won't show you the screen printed, but I'll show you the box. Robin Hood and the Merry Men. Lots of little upgrades in it, and I went for like bling early on in my when I did a lot of Kickstarter. I don't do so many Kickstarters anymore, but at one point I was doing at least one or two Kickstarters every month, at least. So I was getting packages like 6 months to a year later. I was getting packages every month. So that's died down quite a bit in the last couple of years, thankfully. Just couldn't afford it, but it's got really cool. You got your Robin Hood, you got your the different merry men, like Friar Tuck and Lady, whatever. I can't even remember all the Robin Hood stuff. But really nice components in this game. You can build traps, which you'll see get used for certain things, and you can build barriers and stuff like that. It's a little fiddly in the way things work in the game, but I don't know. I think it's a lot of fun. Let's see if I can show you here. So you get your player boards here, which are dual layered, which are really nice. I think in every round you're gonna you have like I think six different heroes. There's a hero phase and then there's a villain phase. Kind of like the Flying Frog games, but works a lot differently. But depending upon what hero you take, you take 2 heroes per round, and then you have to hire your merry men. The heroes, there's a hero phase and a merry men phase actually. The hero phase, the merry men phase, you use those first. I think they go first with those, and you perform different actions on the board, and you can either use a passive ability for the card, or which you put them on the left side of your player board, or the active ability. Now the active ability is a little more powerful. The passive ability not so much, but the passive ability allows you to get some kind of weird set collection thing at the end of the game if you don't exhaust the cards. So I think you do 3 merry men card activities, and then during the hero, so everybody does that, and then you go to the hero phase, and the hero phase allows you to go to different areas, but a little bit more powerful action. So you say you use Robin Hood and Friar Tuck, you can go to they have areas where they excel in and areas where they're not so good in. So you want to send them to areas which they're good in. But then after you use those 2 areas, those 2 heroes, you can't use those 2 heroes the next round. They're exhausted, and then you have to use the other 2 heroes that you have. And then I think you have to do that for 3 rounds, and then at the end of the 3rd round you get all your heroes back and you get to use them again. But then there's the Prince John, the evil phase, where he'll come and send guards to try to capture you and that kind of thing. Let's see if I can show you a little close up here. But production value off the charts in this game. The die, which are right here, which are different weapon die, which you're going to use to try to storm these different carriages. So the carriages in this game, there's basically 4 carriage tracks. This is the city area right here, and these 4 carriage tracks right here are carriages that are going to come every round and try to get into the city, and they're basically bringing Prince John money. You have to try to intercept those, basically, rob from the rich and give to the poor kind of thing. You have to send one of your heroes there in order to I think it's only heroes you can, and you use certain color combinations of die, which you have to acquire through a certain action, to try to defeat those carriages coming in. And every defeated carriage, you get a certain amount of points, but you also get to put them on this track here on the board, and you get bonuses for filling up the defeating them. And there's a certain stack of coins in each one of these roads here, and if you don't, if at any one time the stack of coins gets depleted on any one of these tracks here, there's different ways you can stop carriages too. You can put barriers up, that kind of a thing, in order to slow them down. But if any one time, if any one of the stack of coins gets depleted, all players lose the game. So you kind of have to work a little bit cooperatively to do that. Other areas here, see if I can show you a better thing. Yeah, this is better. So these are a bunch of different barriers that carriages that are on this aisle. I don't see any barriers, but also too, if you build barriers, which you have to use certain resources for, you get to unlock things on your player board, like you can make it bonus coins, or you might get an extra worker, that kind of thing. But these different areas, this is like a wood shop area, I think up top here, and then there's a blacksmith area. So each one of these areas right here allow you to collect goods, but also too, there's a lot of little hideout areas too, and if you ever have, so you might want to place your worker into the main area, but then if the Prince John goes there with guards, you might get put into jail. He might arrest you. If you go to a hideout area and a guard gets placed in that same area, you'll get also get put in the jail unless you can bribe them, that kind of a thing. But also what'll happen too is you can build traps in these hideouts in order to the guards will get stuck in them, and then they'll go on what's called the guard track kind of thing. If ever these areas get filled up with guards, like every round is going to be during the evil phase, is going to be villain phase, is going to be guards placed on the board. And if you don't defeat them, they'll eventually spill over into this guard track area up here. And if they reach a certain level, the heroes also can lose the game. So you're going to want to try to defeat the guards. You can send your some of your meeples or heroes. Oh, it's heroes. I think merry men on the Crusades for the prince or whatever. And if you King Richard or something like that, King Richard, yeah. If you send a certain amount of the Crusades, you get bonus points at the end of the game for doing those. This left area right here is an influence track. Kind of works as a multiplier. So depending upon how many things you build or carriages you defeat, that kind of a thing, it works as a multiplier depending upon how high up you are on the influence track, which you'll get through defeating carriages and doing other things. You can also go to the jail area to free your workers out of the jail. You can go here and try to pickpocket people, but again, you can get caught if you press. It's like a little press your luck area. There's an area here where you can do archery, which you'll gain coins by doing. Robin Hood's very good at archery, of course. Yeah, it's just different areas where you can get dye, you can get tools, you can get different things. And there's a victory point track, of course, around the edge. But great production value, fun little thematic game. Does get a little fiddly, especially when you're building. For some reason, depending upon whether you're building traps or blockades on different roads, depending upon what road it is you're building on, it costs different resources. I don't know why, but it just makes it more fiddly, a little more fiddly. So there is a little fiddliness to it, but the dice rolling and the different die you can get is really cool aspect to the game. And that is my number 62, Robin Hood and the Merry Men. All right, and finally, this game, I feel this video has gone extra, but that's okay. Oh yeah, we're about 20 minutes over what the last video was. But anyway, this is the last one, and this is a really popular game in the top 100 for sure. I know ID Gesture likes this one a lot. I like it a lot. It's my favorite T game. I don't know if it's his favorite, but it's my favorite T game, and that is Teotihuacan, which is ranked number. Oh, it's fell a little bit. I remember it when it was in the, I thought in the 50s at one point, 50s or 60s, but it's number 80 now. I guess there are a lot of new games that have come out, like Ark Nova and different ones that have replaced games, and these games have to fall, even though to me they don't change. They're just as good. But this is Teotihuacan, City of Gods, and this came out in 2018. You can see it's definitely the highest rated game in this from 70 to 61. Excuse me, 70 to 61, and probably one of the weightiest games. But it's by Daniel Tascini, which is he's done a lot of games with Simone Luciani, which I like. But this is by NSKN Games, and one of the T games, and my favorite of the T game, does have a solo mode in it. Worker dice manipulation game where it's really some cool mechanisms in it. Worker placement spots. But in fact, it's right on Kickstarter right now. They're doing a deluxeified version, which I'm tempted to get because I only have the base game myself, which I'm kind of glad I only have the base game because now but at the same point, I'm tempted to get it because it includes all the different expansions, and it's got new artwork, and it's got new components in it, and it looks really, really sweet. So redesigned a little bit the parts of the board, but just to show you, Kind of like little dominoes right here. They look like they remind me of little dominoes, even though they're square. But this is the pyramid you're building right here. Different tracks you're gonna go up. Yes, right here, the different tracks you can go up by building in the pyramid. One in which you get resources, one in which you get victory points, and another one you get cocoa. Cocoa is a currency in this game. But it's different action areas. Let's see if I can show you here. Let's see if I can get a wide angle of this. It's got to be a. For some reason they like to show the pyramid there. Okay, so this is kind of a neat area. The thing too is that you have these 3, 6, 8 different areas on the board, and I think the top and the bottom ones right here are always the same, or at least the top one is. But these ones right here, there's pre-printed ones which you can use all the time, which is fine. But there's different, you can modular parts of the board which you can, change the order in which these come out, and you're basically going to be going clockwise around here, and I think you can move up to 3 spaces, but you're taking your die or your workers, and the pip value is the strength of your die, and you're going to be trying to get you collect different resources. I think it's wood, stone to build in the pyramid, and then there's gold to build to get bonus tokens right here that give you different bonuses if you go to certain tiles and perform actions. And they also is the gold also gives you these side tiles in which you can build in the crossway up on these. I think there are only 2 things, but these tiles you want to be matching symbols, and the symbols colored symbols allow you to go up on certain tracks, and they also give you victory points if you match the symbols on the tiles. You don't have to match the symbols, but that's the way you score the most points. And depending on what layer of the board you go up, you're going to be spending more resources to go in the interior sections of the pyramid. There's a set amount of tokens here, so once the pyramid's finished, it's finished. There's the Avenue of the Dead track, which you'll get bonuses for. These temple tracks give you different bonuses, like masks. You can do a set collection thing with them. They allow, and each time you go to a certain action, you can increase at least 1, sometimes 2, depending upon how many die you have there. I lost my train of thought there. It increases the strength of the action, but you can increase the pip of your value. You're going to have to feed your workers, which are die at the end of each eclipse, they call it. I think there's 3 eclipses in the game. But depending upon what your pip value is, like if it's 1 to 3, you have to pay 1 cocoa. If it's 4 to 6, you have to pay 2 cocoa for each worker. And once the worker hits 6, it ascends. I guess it dies off, and you get bonuses for that. Here you can unlock an extra worker, which I think you start with 3, so you can get 4 workers. Works a little bit like Zulkin, in that you get 2 starting tiles at the beginning of the game, which give you some special asymmetric powers a little bit. Might give you more cocoa or more gold or wood or masks or whatever. Go up on a track, that kind of thing. So it does have some similarities to Zulkin a little bit. Very different game, but some similarities in that respect with the tracks and the temples and stuff. What else? You can also go and pray. Is it pray? I think it is. Pray or go to do the religious part of this, which you'll go into a certain area right here, and you'll get bonuses. Like in this red area right here, you get to go up on the red track, and you also get an opportunity to take a tile, pay some cocoa or some wood or something like that to get a tile. Those workers get locked in there, and you can only you can unlock them by paying a certain amount of cocoa or skipping your turn and unlocking all your workers. The cost of the action is what's kind of neat. Is depending upon how many different other colored die are there. Like say for instance you're a red die and you wanted to go to this area right here, you would have to pay, I think it's 2, maybe 3 cocoa. I think it's 2 though. I think it's the amount of die that are already there. If there are no die there and you go to take the action, then you don't have to pay any cocoa. And you have to have cocoa in order. If you can't pay the cocoa, then you can't do the action. Now you can always, instead of doing the action, you can collect cocoa. So I think it would cost you 2 for the red worker to go here, and then it would, if you just wanted to collect cocoa, you can bring a worker in here, and then you would get 3 cocoa. You get an extra 1 depending upon how many different colors of pips are there. But really fun game. Very tactical. I'm not very good at it, um, especially on BG. It's a great adaptation on BGA, but again, I'm not really great at it. But it is a fun game. I don't get the physical. I play it more on BGA than I do the physical copy. Physical copy I got for like only $30, so it was cheap when I got it. But there's a lot with setup with the tiles and everything, and that's probably why while it's an awesome game, it's not ranked higher because it doesn't get to the table that often because there is a ton of setup in this game. um, it has does have a great solo mode. I'll give it that. It has an app, I believe, for the solo mode, which makes it better. I like it. Yeah, it's not that hard to figure out. I think David Terzi also did the solo mode for this one. This is an area too where you can build houses and get victory points for. Yeah, it's fairly easy. The actions, once you learn them, they're not that hard. Definitely a fun game, and I say that's my favorite T game. I have not tried the other 3 or 4. Well, Talatum I do have, but that's a very different game. This or Talatum, I don't know. I think I like Talatum a little bit better. I like the theme of Talatum a little bit better anyway. I don't know. But it is a T game, but it's not a T game. It's not. The other T games I think have more in common with this game. But I'm not sure if it's the same. I think it's the same designer. Maybe not. But the other T games, I like some of the mechanics in them, but this game for me flows a little bit better. And maybe it's because I played it first, or maybe it's because this is the most highly ranked one. The other ones just don't. They're not as intuitive to me. Maybe once I tried them. Like I said, I have watched ID Gesture and others play it, but I don't know. Anyway, I want to finish this video because it's getting pretty to the end of the game. And this is the track. You go up, you do this 3 times, and then that's the end of the game. Feed your workers 3 times, and that's it. But definitely a fun game. And my number 61, Teotihuacan, or however you pronounce it. But yeah, so I'm going to end this video now, since before I go much longer, I don't want to hit 2 hours. So thank you for joining me. This is my number 70 to 61, and stay tuned for my number 60 to 51, which will be sometime this week, towards the end of April, and then on April 30th, join myself, ID Gesture, Phoenix Knight, and Lower Slower Board Gamer, and we'll be doing the top 50 games from our collections on Sunday night, April 30th, 2023, at 8 p.m. on ID Gesture's channel. Although I am going to try to either put this on my channel later on, or what I may do is since we're only going to be doing 1 video a week, we're doing 50 to 41 on April 30th, and then we'll, do 40 to 31 and so forth. And so it'll take us 5 weeks to do it. I may do my top 50 games, continue this like I did it here. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you for joining me, Mr. Merritt from High Ground Gaming, and we'll see you in the next 50. My brain is fried. 60 to 51 of High Ground Gaming's top 100 board games, 2023, as of 2023 April. So take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.